So let's put on our imaginary imagination caps, shall we? Get my little binky put on. So we're going to play make-believe. So there's a social scientist in the future, and he's got this supercomputer. And he takes 1,000 images of different women between the ages of 18 and 25. And he has the computer sort them from least beautiful to most beautiful. And so he sorted these 1,000 women's faces, and then he takes 5 of them. He takes the least beautiful, and then number 250, and then number 500, and number 750, and then number 1,000. I've got it here, look. Can you see this? Am I holding this properly? So now we have 5 faces. We take these, is everyone with me? Number 1 is the least beautiful. Let's go ahead and say it, the ugliest. This is the ugliest person. No, sorry. This is number 1, the ugliest person. And here's number 5, the most beautiful person. And then we have 2, 3, and 4. So he takes these 5 and he gives them to 1,000 people. Now, listen to the wording of the survey. The survey says, for $5, we will give you $5 if you will arrange these 5 faces from least beautiful to most beautiful. Or, if you don't want to do this, we'll give you $2. So 1,000 people to do it. Guess what? You guess. Guess what percentage had exactly the same as the computer? 92%. 92%. That's pretty amazing. And I think we have to accept that there is an objective standard of beauty. Now, I'm not saying objective like Aristotelian objective. I'm saying for this society in America, at this time, there are certain standards of beauty that we all understand and accept. And we all know what an ugly person is, and we all know what a beautiful person is, and we all know what that person in between is. Now, there's a problem. If I were just to sample 5 people, if we were just to take 5 people at random faces and give it to those 1,000 people and say, order these properly, the number drops. And the number drops because of this, because realize there's not 100 people that are this ugly and 100 people who are this ugly and 100 people who are this ugly, right? That's not how ugliness is like height or beauty. Let's say beauty. Beauty is like height. It makes a bell-shaped curve. Most people are in the middle, right? So most people are more than a 3 and less than a 7. Right? More than a 3. 68% of the people fall in this middle category. People who are here, a 2 or a 3, a little less than 2 or a 3, there's only 14%, and then the truly ugly are only 3%. And that's the same here. Most people are not beautiful. Most people are here. So if we picked 5 people, they'd all come from here, and now that's much more difficult to distinguish when we get to the granular part. Now, I've got to show you something, and remember, we're make-believing. Turns out, redheads, the average population group of redheads between the ages of 18 and 25 have a lower average of beauty, just slightly lower than the non-ones. No, no, please, if you're a redhead and you're saying, Mr. Warren, you're calling me ugly, the answer is, no, I'm not. Look at all these beautiful redheads. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. It's true, because this is the median, the black line's the median, right? It's true that there are more redheads who are below average than above average, but not by much. And I'm not talking about you. You're right here. I promise you. But are you with me? That people might say, "Oh my goodness, you're saying that redheads are uglier than non-redheads." I'm not. The population group is to the left on the graph. I'm not talking about individuals. Individuals are all different. And again, if you're a redhead, you could be right here. Now, I'm going to try to explain why this is true. By the way, this is not true. Right? I'm making all this stuff up. I'm making this up. Okay. The reason this could be true, here's some theories. When people have a fight with their redheaded girlfriend, it imprints on them, and then they despise redheads more than if you have a fight with your blonde-headed girlfriend. One possibility. Maybe redheads are just rare, and people don't like rareness. Maybe they have freckles. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. Now you might say, Mr. Horn, why are we talking about this? This doesn't seem right. And listen to this answer. Turns out that holding everything steady, everything income, everything else the same, the more beautiful you are, the more likely you are to be called for a second interview. So shouldn't we have the first interview behind perhaps Japanese screens, paper screens, so people can't see them, or like The Voice, that people have their back to you for that first interview? Now, stop, take off your hat. I would say if that was true, none of that I just said was true that I know. If that was true, I would say we should not talk about this. We should not write books about it. Why? Because Americans have a toxic culture toward beauty. They think beauty is so important. It's not terribly important. I know it's important. It shouldn't be important. I guess that's what I'm saying. So I don't want to keep pushing this wound in America. I think it's wrong. I don't believe you should always tell the truth. I'm about to say, I find this wrong with the new atheists. The new atheists. Well, hold on, before I get to the new atheists. So, this whole thing is, of course, to prepare you for the bell curve and to Charles Murray. Let's see if I have enough time. We'll see. Well, I'll get as much as I can before 10 minutes. So, Charles Murray says that intelligence is partly genetic. So you get smart parents will more likely have smarter parents than dumb parents. Right? That's just what we're saying. It's not 100% at all by any stretch of imagination. In fact, they don't put a number on it. They said we don't know environment versus genetic, but there is a genetic component. But it's also true that intelligence helps you become successful. Again, there are a lot of smart people who are not successful, and there are some successful people who are not smart. We're saying all things being held equal, intelligence helps you become more successful. If this is true, they argue, then perhaps if we have some kind of society where you can take an SAT and smart people from little towns can bubble up from the poverty, then maybe what's going to happen is we're going to have low class, our lowest class will become dumber and dumber, and maybe there'll be an elite. Now, we'll talk all about this later. He makes a mistake, though, in this book. He talks about black folks. So he could have said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to investigate intelligence and poverty and all that stuff, but we're only going to look at white people because you can't look up black people and intelligence and genetics. I don't think you could write that book. Actually, he does later on write that book, but you can't say, oh no, forget about black people, because black people make up such a large portion of our poverty. So my thought, and I'll address this again, is that Charles Murray is not racist. He's not wrong. He's just inappropriate. We don't talk about genetics and African Americans. Just like, I don't think we should talk about atheists. I don't think those new atheists try to be convincing everyone that God doesn't exist. That just seems inappropriate. Okay, that's all for today.